It's easy to see that Tempe local Adriana Martinez has a passion for music. She was born in Mexico City and moved to the United States to pursue an education in music after graduating from high school. She moved to the Valley of the Sun around 2 years ago and has been an active member in the local music community ever since, performing with the Phoenix Symphony Choir and teaching music history at Phoenix College. I got a chance to talk with Adriana about music and her career. So Adriana, what attracts you to music and singing specifically?
Ever since I was little, ever since I can remember, music's just been something that's fascinating to me. And I think part of it is that it is something very intellectual and very emotional at the same time. It kind of connects everything. When you're singing or playing an instrument, your body's involved, but at the same time, your mind is involved. You're thinking about, the technical aspects of it, and then there's emotion in it, and there's kind of spirituality to it. So every part of you is involved in it.
Tell me your earliest memory related to music.
Oh, wow. I think probably it would have to do with listening to my dad's records. Anything from Beethoven to the Beatles, Led Zeppelin, Mambo, you name it. We had all kinds of records, and I would just listen to them for hours on end.
When did you decide music was something that you wanted to study in school and do professionally?
I think it was in high school. I had been singing choruses. I had been in some plays, some musicals. We had done Grease, we had done Jesus Christ Superstar. I had a band with my friends, kind of like a rock band. And I was just really involved in music all the time, and it started to be something where it's like, you know what, this is something that really is fulfilling to me, and I really enjoy it, and I can't imagine not doing it. Maybe I should look at making this a career.
What different styles of music do you sing, and is there a limitation, or can you really, you run the gambit?
Pretty much anything, honestly. There's some styles I haven't tried that I would love to try, like jazz. I have never sang in a jazz style, but I would love to try it. But pretty much anything you put in front of me, I love singing.
Do you have a favorite style?
Obviously, I spent a lot of time doing classical music and opera and so on. I really into rock music was what first got me involved in music. But no, I can't say that I have a favorite. I just love to sing.
Okay. Over your career as a singer, you've had the opportunity to sing with many different groups, many different choirs, and currently you told me that you're singing with the Phoenix Symphony Choir. Mm-hmm. Can you tell me how you got involved with them and where that all started?
Sure. I started singing with, in college, I started singing with symphony choruses, and the thing about singing with an orchestra is a very different experience from any other kind of singing that you can do. And so ever since then, I've been involved with different choruses, the Philadelphia Choral Arts Society, the Baltimore Choral Arts Society. So anyway, when I moved to Phoenix, I really wanted to be involved in something like that. I auditioned for the Phoenix Symphony Chorus, was accepted. Dr. Gentry, who's also at ASU, conducting and choral conducting professor, is awesome. He's our conductor. And been doing that ever since.
And how long has that been?
2 years.
And how often do you actually perform with them?
We have a performance usually about once every couple of months, 4 or 5 performances during the year.
Okay. You've performed roles in a variety of shows, ranging from Jesus Christ Superstar to Man of La Mancha. Is your interest in musical theater or just music strictly, and that's kind of what got you into it?
It's definitely the musical part of it was what got me into it in high school when I got the opportunity to join a musical theater production of Grease. Initially, it was just anything that involved music I wanted to do. But I do love acting, and especially now that I'm trying to get into opera, acting is a big part of that. And I mean, really, opera and musical theater are not that different when it comes down to it. So.
You received your bachelor's degree in music from University of Charleston and your master's and PhD in musicology from the Eastman School of Music. I was hoping you could just tell me what musicology was.
Sure. It sounds like a made-up word, but it isn't. Musicology is the study of music really in a historical context. And so what musicologists do is usually study either the history of a particular period, musical biographies of composers, criticism, that kind of thing.
So what did your research focus on specifically?
Okay, well, I'm interested in mostly 20th century topics and also music and culture and popular music. And so my dissertation focused on both popular and classical music that has to do with the U.S.-Mexico relationship and also nationalism in that music.
So you're born in Mexico City. When did you actually come to the States?
I came to the United States for college, never expecting to stay, but I met somebody there and got married, and so ended up staying.
Do you think your exposure to both the Mexican and American cultures has affected that research and studying how those two different music cultures affected one another?
Oh, definitely. I actually don't think that I would have come up with this topic if I hadn't lived here, because it gives you a very different perspective, not only on the culture that you're in, which is new to you, but also your own culture. You kind of start seeing things from a different perspective.
What do you think the most interesting thing that you realized was out of that?
I think I just understand. I have been living here for a long time, but in many ways, I am not from here. So I still have kind of a foot in both places, which is true for a lot of people. And so I think that's why I was interested in how musically the relationship between the two countries has really affected lots of people, not just Mexican Americans.
Okay. How is music a part of your everyday life?
Well, it's obviously I listen to music just like everybody else. I do a lot of singing, both with the chorus and practicing. I also teach music history class at Phoenix College. It's a history of jazz class. And it's really a part of everything I do.
Now, you said before that jazz singing was one of the few styles that you haven't actually dabbled in.
Yeah.
Was the history of jazz something that they came to you and said, hey, we wanted you to teach this subject, or were you attracted to that specifically?
Well, as it turns out, I mean, technically I consider myself an American music specialist, and by American music I mean all of the American continent. And so in the past, I had taught a music in the United States class, which included jazz. This was, somebody came to me and they offered me this class, and I knew a little bit about jazz, but not as much as I wanted to. And so the great thing about this class is that I was able to learn a lot about jazz and jazz singing, and I really, really love it. So that's probably something I'm going to be looking into doing soon.
You've recently been accepted into a prestigious Emerald City Opera Artist Institute this summer, and you shared a story with me earlier about your audition process and how you got kind of a curveball with the pop song. I was hoping you could share that story.
Sure. Well, okay, so you go to these auditions and you try to prepare the things that you're most comfortable with. And usually the way it'll go is they'll tell you to pick something that you want to start with. And then there's a list of things that the auditioners can choose from. And so I knew that the Emerald City Opera is doing an operetta this summer. That's one of the things that the Institute artists are going to participate in. And operetta is essentially, it's like light opera. It's opera, but it's usually funny and kind of more popish, if you like. And so I had a choice in my repertoire list of choosing either, another, opera aria or something from opera, something that was funny and comedic. And I was like, well, this isn't something I normally would sing in an audition, but since they're going to do operetta in the summer, maybe I can try that. So I actually printed 2 different repertoire sheets and brought them with me. And at the last minute, I was like, you know what? Why not? I'll just give them this. So sure enough, I sing my first piece, and I honestly didn't think that it was going very well. Then the auditioner is like, well, I really would love to hear this operetta piece. And even the accompanist was kind of surprised. She was like, really? That's what you want to hear? And I was like, okay. So I sang that, and, I felt it went a lot better than the first piece. And they, interrupted me halfway through, which is not unusual in auditions. You don't usually get to sing the entire thing. And then I ended up getting in, so I guess that was the right choice to make, even though it was an unusual piece to be singing.
Great. Well, thanks for spending the time to talk to me, Adriana. I appreciate it.
Thank you.